Hello and welcome. My name is Robert Lyon with Gino Nadarov. We're going to be talking about the car rental business. We're going to give you guys the truth, the ins and out, and how much money you can make. And we really like this business model because it's fairly passive. You know, you still have to, if you want to really scale it up, you can. And it's just kind of cool to have a ton of vehicles that are making you money constantly. That's at least what I think. Gino, when did you start doing the car rental business?
So I started about 5 years ago. It was 2018, 29, beginning of 2019.
Oh, wow.
It was like going during a transition time when I was actually I just bought I just bought two real estate deals, and I was getting those things ready, and I wanted to find another way to make money, right? So I was like, well, how else can I make money fast? Like I wanted quick money. So real estate is good, but it's like, it takes time. You got to get people in there. You got to do some work, whatever. So that obviously it's good money, but it takes time. So my biggest thing was I wanted to make quick money, and I was still working at the time as an engineer, but then I realized that, my income was not really growing as fast as I needed it to grow to continue to buy real estate. And I just got kind of annoyed by that. So I was like, well, how can
Mhm.
I make more money? And I looked at different venues, like, there's obviously e-commerce. I heard of Amazon. I heard of different, ways of making money, but I wanted something physical, and I wanted something like hard, and I can actually enjoy as well, and at the same time be able to invest my money. So, and I wanted to have a good return on my money, and I wanted to be able to have an asset that I can sell later if I wanted to, if I didn't want to get rid of it or whatever. In this case,
Mhm.
cars, right? So it
Yeah.
was like, well, what else can I rent, right? What else can I rent? I can rent boats, jet skis. I can rent all this stuff. But I'm in the middle of LA where there's a bunch of people, a lot of
Yeah.
cars. What else is more in demand other than like restaurants and coffee shops,
Mhm.
is like getting somewhere. You need a car in LA. You cannot
Right.
travel anywhere in LA if you don't have a car. And most
Right.
most major cities, you need a car. So I started in LA, and I was like, well, I can do this in other states, but let me start in LA. So I started my car rental business just right out of my house. Actually used my parents' house as a headquarters to start. When my first car, I actually got a Corvette because I thought
Yeah.
and I always wanted a Corvette. So I was like, well, if I'm
Which
going
one
to
of the
start this,
Corvettes? Is it like a yellow one, a
it
red
was a
one?
white
What
one.
legal?
It was a white
That's pretty.
Stingray.
Oh,
And I
I think
was
we have
like,
a picture of that one.
I do. I'll show it to you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a picture of that. But basically, that whole idea was like, whoa, wow! I wanted a car of my dreams. And I was like 33, 32 years old. I still wanted. I always wanted a Corvette. I never had one. And I was like, well, better time to get a Corvette and start a car rental business at once. And I was like, well, if it doesn't work out, worst case, I get a car that I love. So
Yeah.
and that's what I did. So I got the car and I put it on the market, and man, it went like so quick. Like that day I picked it up, I was like so excited. I drove it in, and I was like everybody was tripping, like, oh my god, this is such a nice car. Like, oh, how can you afford this? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a dream car that I always want, but it's not that expensive for me because I was already making money. But obviously, other
Yeah.
people around the whole neighborhood was looking at us like, I'm doing something illegal or something, but and then this is where it got really bad. Okay, that's only one car.
Yeah.
So then I took the car and I started to really start spending time and like taking photos and taking it to a nice. I took some nice photos of it, but first of all, I just took photos right out of my driveway, and I was like, let me
Yeah.
just put it on the market right now, and like maybe somebody will book it. And
Hmm.
you see the whole car like being listed on their website, Turo. Use Turo in this case. Somebody booked the car,
Yeah.
right? Literally like 5 hours or 4.5 hours after I posted it with the shitty pictures and everything.
Nice.
But I did say it was a brand new car. And then I had this moment like, I don't want to give this car for rent.
Right. You're
I
like,
was,
oh, I don't want
he's gonna
someone
mess
else
it.
driving my
I was like, what if
car.
this guy messes it? What if this guy messes it up? Like, man, like I don't. I
Mhm.
was like, I just got this car. Like, I don't want to mess it up. Like, I had this like this guilt trip type thing, and I was like, man, no, I need this. Not like I don't care about it. I can't get attached to it.
Yeah.
I need to rent this car out.
It's a
So
business.
it's that moment of like,
Let
letting
it
go of
go.
your child. And I just got the child too, right? Like, and like,
Yeah.
it's like, I just got this child and I'm like, oh, I'm going to give it away now. So then I let it go. But man, every like couple days it was getting booked. Like, and I didn't even get a chance to take photos of it. Like, I didn't even get a chance to take nice photos until later, when I actually got the car over the weekend. Me and my wife, when we went out to dinner or something, you know. So,
and they pay you before they rent it, right? They're just like, hey,
so
here's
it's
like
booked. It's booked
$300.
right off the bat. Like, whenever somebody comes in, they book it right off the bat, and then payment is made. It's basically payment is made to Turo or car rentals or car share, ride sharing. There's other apps you can use, but I use Turo and carrentals.com. So Turo is the main one because Turo is like coming up, and it was just getting a lot of attention during the Super Bowl. They did a whole a marketing campaign. I was I'm in. Like, this is it. Like, I got to get in. They're spending this much money. Turo, I don't have to go create a new brand. I'm going to leverage their brand and start scaling on my cars. And they were giving out opportunities to rent your cars. And I was like, well, I'd rather do Turo than Uber, because Uber was just like, well, I have to find a person to drive my car. And, it's just more work, right? It's just like, I
didn't even think that you could have other people drive your car on Uber.
Oh, of course. If you get a car, if I get a Uber car and I lease it out to someone else, they can drive and make money on their own, or I can have them. I don't know if you can work on your own account, but I think there's a business account you can create where you can have other people drive your cars.
Oh, wow. That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother game. But I like this business because I didn't have to deal with people or anybody else driving my cars, and I wasn't trying to show for anybody. That's something I was thinking, maybe later in the future I might get a chauffeur and get some nice cars and have somebody chauffeur people around. But this was just like a hard asset, right? Hard asset and just rent. Hard asset rent, right? It was
how much do you think you make a day renting that Corvette back in the day? Or
so when I first started, I mean, I'm telling you, it was making me like about $400-500 a day.
That's so good, man. That's like that's
it
awesome.
Was crazy. It was making me. I was looking. So the first car I got was a Corvette, and the first month it did about 1,500, and the payment was like about 730 or no 680. It was a 680 was the payment, and then after that I got another Corvette.
Right.
I was like, well, this one worked. I'm gonna get another one. So I just rinse and repeat. I got a black one. And then that one was doing better. Like, I was getting like $2,500 a month just on one car. And the thing is, like, it was renting for, and I was dropping the price so that way it will go, right? So what happened was, like, originally like I had the price of like 120 and it was getting booked, but not as much. But I was like, well, I'm thinking like just like what we do is like scale, right? So how do I scale? I'm not looking at like, I don't need a car sitting at my lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like cars and I love cars. But when I started getting these cars, I started to realize, they're going to get booked, but the price point maybe was too high for average Joe Schmo to book. So then you have to find that good sweet spot. But what happened was I learned the hard way. I dropped it too low. And then because it was a hard time, but I wanted to go. So I was like, well, let me let it go. It got booked by, some douchebag that basically like totaled my car.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what happens when that happens.
So and then they took it 15 minutes later. They totaled my car. They was on the freeway. They lost control. They hit and I was like, oh man, dude, this is like the worst thing that can happen.
So that's why you want to keep the price up.
My first client, my first car, my Corvette, the white one, was totaled, and I was devastated, man.
You almost want to buy like really slow fucking stupid cars.
I was so devastated. I had a heartbreak, and I was on vacation at the time, and I'm like, man, somebody like gave me like a bad like I guess we say like somebody give a bad eye or a bad like energy towards you, and like somebody screwed you over. Like people started to notice I had cars, so I knew that I was gonna get some like karma, bad energy coming towards me or whatever you want to call it. But it was like I started getting like literally neighbors like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 cars.
Yeah.
Parked in my parents' house.
Just like all the way around the block. All for you.
Right? That entire street where my parents lived, I owned it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need a lot, but I was about to get a lot as well. And I was ready to get a lot, but I was like, well, I'm just going to keep scaling until my neighbors start complaining.
Right.
So then that's what happened. But the thing is, as I started with, it was one car, it went to, 3, 4. And I just started to realize that it didn't matter really. It mattered which car you got, but the ones that are more expensive, like they obviously, or the more more sporty, they get damaged very quickly, and they're gonna get,
Oh yeah,
they get total. So what
because they're
happened?
fast and people don't know how to drive them, right?
So I learned my lesson. It makes more money, but it's high risk. So what happened was
Mhm.
I was like, well, I got these cars, and I basically realized that it was, those cars were good, but they get totaled too quick because I dropped the price too low as well. So I kept my prices a little higher now, and I
But
also
those ones,
complained to Turo because I was like, look, you guys are not making money. I'm having to compete with other people, and everybody's dropping their prices. So I was the reason why they raised the prices and set a minimum.
oh
I
yeah,
was the reason because I told them, I called their freaking executives basically. I started, I called their management company. I said, hey, I'm over here doing this, and I'm competing with someone down the street somewhere, and we keep dropping prices. Eventually, these cars are going to be going for nothing if you guys don't
yeah,
put there has to be like a base limit, right? So
right,
and then they clicked. Like a few months later, they created a base limit for everybody, so that
nice.
any car that there was, they could not rent for lower than this, and that means I wasn't competing with anybody else. So I was like, oh well, as long as I'm at the base limit, I get the maximum visibility, and I get the maximum possibility that my car will be rented versus someone else.
Yeah.
So that way everybody's on the same level, right? So
Hmm.
that's that's kind of like what I guess the progression of Turo. And then it became to the point where I really enjoyed having these cars. And it's like, well, I
Yeah.
can actually enjoy the car. It's a business that you can enjoy, but then it's also passive in a way. But yeah, you have to, initially I was washing the cars. Nobody was washing the car. I was getting the cars, taking it to the car wash or washing it, at my parents' house
Hmm.
whenever I had a chance. And then eventually I just started to get people on board. I hired two guys when I was already cash flowing about 6K a month. Just like I literally, like, I was just like renting cars, and I was just making money. And I was like, man, I can pay somebody $1,000 or $1,500 and just handle all this for me, and I can scale even more. So I
Yeah.
hired somebody, and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And then during that time, the pandemic hit, and I had 16 cars. And I
Right.
was like, oh my God, like this is so bad. Like I can't, like all these cars, and
People just wouldn't rent them, huh?
nobody was renting, they blocked travel. Like it was
Oh
bad, right?
yeah,
It
you
was, it was
couldn't
the end of
fly.
the 2018, 2019, great. 2019 to 2020, amazing. And then 2020, dead. Right,
Right.
boom. Like the business got cracked. I was making so much, I was ready to quit my job. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm all in. I'm gonna go buy a bunch of cars and call it a day,
Yeah. Right.
So, and
And then that happened.
and I was ready to do that, but then like that happened, and I was like, oh, so I'm glad I kept my job, and I was like, I got my real estate, and meantime, my real estate was started to cash flow, so I was just making more and more money, and then I was like, I'm unstoppable. Like it's like this is
Yeah.
over. Like there's nothing else matters. I was making what I was making as a salary senior level engineer. Like
Wow.
that's
Just from the cars and real
just from
estate,
the
pretty
cars.
much. Just from
Just
the
from the
cars.
cars,
Sick.
not real estate. I'm not even including real estate. I'm talking
Right.
about
Right.
just
Right.
cars alone. So I was like, man, and I made it happen in less than a year.
Yeah.
So
Like how
that
many
that
were you just like buying a car every month, pretty much?
I was literally, once the moment I would get two, three cars at the same time. And when my
Yeah.
cars got totaled, I was like, hey, I got a car totaled. I need to get rid of this. I need to get this bill paid, or I call Turo. So what happens in Turo is they go, whenever a car gets totaled, there's insurance. The way it works there, the car is rented under the Turo insurance. You pay
Hmm.
into that insurance to insure the car, unless you get your
Okay.
own fleet insurance. Most people don't have fleet insurances, and I was ready to get one before the pandemic hit. But basically, they cover the car. You can adjust how much you want coverage based on deductible in
Yeah.
Turo, and then you'll have the opportunity to actually get coverage. And when the car gets totaled, Turo will cover the car, pay off the lender if you have a car like a lien. Now, there's usually also a gap. You need to make sure that if you're buying or leasing a vehicle, most leases have it, but you should always check that they have to have gap insurance. So
Mm.
if the car is driving and you have a lot of miles, and it happens to get totaled, if the car has dropped in value more than what the insurance is willing to pay for it, you'll have a gap, and that gap needs to be covered. And if you don't have gap insurance, you're going to end up paying out of pocket. So
Ah.
every car I end up getting, and this is fire information, you have to you literally verify it has gap insurance. If it doesn't have
Hmm.
gap insurance, don't buy that car, or don't even rent
Yeah.
that car or lease it, right?
Mhm.
You're the person that the business. Sometimes BMW doesn't provide that gap insurance. Sometimes Toyota won't provide it. It just depends on the dealer, or on the actual company, the financial institution. Essentially, they have to provide the gap insurance when they finance your car. They either offer it to pay for it, or they offer it as a complimentary because they want to save. They want their car to be covered. Yeah, that's what you
Yeah.
want. But if it's like you got to pay for it, I'd say include it in my
How
payment.
much do you think you pay per month on a car?
Like $30
Oh, for real? That's what I would do.
for
I
life
figured you
insurance.
were paying way more. That's
No, you're
awesome.
paying like $30 a month for like gap insurance. It's like it's completely
Well, no,
worth
no,
it.
no. How much do you think you pay total for the total insurance
Oh,
on a car?
so every car, so when you either buy or lease a car, you need to have personal insurance on the car because if you don't have personal insurance, the car is not covered. So that means
Right.
if the car is parked on the street and it's not renting and somebody hits it, which happened to me, I actually your personal insurance kicks in and covers the car. And if it
Hmm.
gets totaled or which I had a drunk driver hit one of my cars that was parked in the street. Luckily, I
Yeah.
had insurance, the worst insurance company ever. Don't go with Geico, and that's
Right.
straight up. And I'm telling you guys, don't use Geico. But
Geico
Geico
sucks,
is
man.
the worst insurance I've ever dealt with. They decided they don't want to total the car, and they ended up forcing me to keep the car in the body shop being repaired for over a year. And
Wow.
I was paying for a car that was in a body shop. So yeah, don't use Geico. But basically, you need to have personal insurance in order to cover the car, either when you're driving it or when it's parked on the street. That way, God forbid something happens, your car is covered. Usually, that it depends on the person. If the car is under your name or under a business. Now,
Mm.
I've gotten cars under most of my cars are under my name or family, right? People that I know, they'll just get cars under their name and then just basically either they'll be willing to put their name down, or I'll just give them some percentage, or they're just family, they don't care, use their name, right? As long as
Yeah.
their credit is good. So I was fixing people's credit while I was getting people's cars.
Yeah,
And I
then
was
renting
getting
them
them
out.
cars. So I was getting cars from family, my cousins, my uncles, my
That's
parents.
cool.
Yeah, I just got family. I got cars for everybody around my family. Everybody had a car. My right now,
Hmm.
like my mom has like 3 cars. And it's like,
Right.
well, she didn't even have like she never had a car in her life. And now she has like 3 cars she's able to get Maseratis now. she's able I got her
Nice.
credit so good. Like she's able to get like, really high end cars.
Hmm.
And essentially what happens is you build their credit while you're doing that, which is so cool, you know?
Nice.
And I love that. Essentially, it became almost like a credit building mechanism at this point on the auto side. Remember, you have 3 scores. You have mortgage score, you have a FICO score, which is your financial score, and which is a combination of your FICO 2 and FICO 8,
Yeah.
and you have a mortgage score, which is the FICO 2. So those are basically the biggest factors that you can use to leverage and help your parents or family or others build credit by getting
Hmm.
them cars and renting them. That way they pay them off. They pay themselves, right? Just like a
Yeah.
house. Essentially, it's a trade line, and it's a good trade line to have. If it's paid off, it grows the person's credit. It shows their credibility.
Hmm.
But again, back to the Turo, I would say Turo is a great system, great opportunity. They are not necessarily on your side all the time because they're all
Right.
about the customer. Because at the end of the day, they got to get paid. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to file every claim that occurs. Let's say a car gets scratched or anything. You cannot be doing that every time because what happens is they start to crack down on them, and they become less profitable. Therefore, they don't want to do business with you.
Right.
So if they're not making money, you're not making money. So they're like, well,
Yeah.
while you're making money, while we're losing money because you're filing claims. So you want to avoid that. Other than that, I think it's more about like finding that I guess the gray spot or like the good I would say almost like a level that you want to rent your cars at, and you'll find that as you rent them out at the low
Yeah.
end and the high end, and you'll find that where they go pretty steadily for each
Hmm.
car is different, right? Every paint and each car is different. Sometimes I try to go back up and I have to come back down, or I come down back down, then I go back up. So my prices vary every week.
Hmm.
And the reason I do that is because I have a desire to get the maximum amount of money for my cars. So, and
Yeah.
I want to, it's just like Airbnb. You want to keep your prices high, and if you don't rent, then you drop, right?
Yeah. Right.
That's basically what you want. But you have to be constantly on it. You have to constantly monitor it, and you need someone to do that. And that's why I hired 2 guys, and I still have 2 guys right now that are managing 15 cars. So right now the goal is I can get a location and scale, and we're at before we had the pandemic, I was ready to scale up to 100 cars. Like I was like, let's go. But
Yeah.
right now what happens is you still have the pandemic kind of like it's over, but there's still like not as many foreign travelers as they used to be.
No.
And you're gonna make some money, maybe not as fast as I did when I first started, and I didn't, and how fast I made it was unreal to my opinion, because I made so much quick money. It was just unbelievable. But that time was really good, right? Now
Yeah.
I would say it's still good. It's just don't expect to make $6,000 in like 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So you might make a couple thousand, maybe 1,000 a month profit. If you have like 4 or 5 cars, you can make maybe $1,000, $2,000 passively. Is basically all you got to do is get the car washed, take a photo of the car, and then have the customer come pick it up. I
Right.
created a system which automates almost everything, and up to the point where my guys don't even have to be there. They're on the phone anywhere they are, wherever they are, and it doesn't matter if they're home, they're at their grandma's house or whatever. As
Yeah.
long as they're on they got a phone. The car has been prepared the day before. Usually you have 24 hours to prepare the car, whether you're going to wash it, take care of it, photos, everything you got to take photos of. We usually take about up to 100 photos of the vehicle. And those photos are very important, because that's like, if God forbid somebody damages something, you
Yeah. You
have
got
that proof.
pictures.
You
Yeah.
have to have the proof, and a turo won't cover anything if you have no proof. You want to have the photos of the car, and that's why we take. I've created a system of photos, literally, of everything, how I have it done, and it's up to like 80 to 90 photos per car every time it leaves.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, we don't mess
is
around. It's straight, because
Israel's
at the end
phone
of
is
the day,
just full of
and I'm talking about
pictures.
like it doesn't matter if it's a Honda or a BMW, the photos
Mhm.
are the same every
Yeah.
time. The same every time. So, and that's because the car needs to be covered. Especially, I have new cars. Most of my cars, I don't even have to spend, like I was spending like a couple, $3,000-$4,000 down on a car. Now, since I build relationships with these brokers, I'm able to just get cars for like as low as $500.
No
Like
shit.
I'll
Yeah,
get,
that's what I was gonna ask.
I got an Alfa Romero for like $5 bills, $1,000 for like a Honda Civic,
Hmm.
$1,000 for like, like a Lexus, 2,000 for like a BMW.
Yeah, let me
Yeah,
ask you
like
this. If you were gonna start over, what car would you get? Like if you were starting from scratch, what cars would you
I
start
was
from?
now, well, now the business is different, right? So I would go with like more like a daily. So that's where the business changed. After the pandemic, the business changed. It's no longer, I had exotics. I had an M2, the Jaguar convertible. I had
Yeah.
I had the Lexus, the Tesla, the Mercedes C300. I had a Range Rover. I had high-end vehicles, and these cars no longer rented. It was like they were dead, and I was like,
People
"What's
just
going
need
on?"
the daily travel
They don't.
cars,
And I don't.
grocery
I
stuff.
had to return all my cars and
No
come back,
shit.
and I returned. I literally returned all my cars, and I got two new cars for every car I returned. I bought two new cars, but I bought two Hondas. I bought two Kias. I bought
Yeah.
two
So you,
Lexuses.
so you would say
I
like
got
just like tough, like every day, never have
boom
to get an
every
oil
day.
change,
I
fucking
got
cars.
trucks. I got a Jeep. I got a truck, a
Yeah.
Ram. I got myself right now. We have two Jeeps, one Ram. We had a Silverado. Let me show you what we have, so that way you guys
Hmm.
can see. It's a really beautiful system. Now it's definitely progressed from where it started. That's for sure.
Yeah. One thing I just like my business brain wants to recommend is if you're like, let's say you get 5 more cars,
Yeah,
instead of putting them on Turo, I would split test them on another platform. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
See if some will start, because then you could have multiple places where you're putting your cars and you can do it.
And that's what I recommend. Where if I had a chance to do it again, I would probably spread the wealth. I guess
Yeah.
see where I can. Let me get this thing loaded up.
Israel should be doing Uber, dude. Like Uber Eats or something. You know what I mean? You need, like
Oh
with
yeah,
your
I mean,
cars
I
and
think
give you a little cut.
I think he should be doing definitely Uber.
But that would be a whole nother stream of income if you did DoorDash and stuff
Oh yeah, for
with
sure.
your cars. I think that's cool.
Yeah, with my cars. Tell me if you can see my screen now.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay,
So
sweet.
are these your cars? Or no, these are
So
the
these are
booked.
yeah, these are the book cars. So here we go. So basically the vehicles, right? These are the ones that we have that are listed, and some that are already unlisted because we replaced them or we changed them. But look at all the
Alpha.
cars we got. We had an Alpha, we had Alpha Stelvio, we had the Camaro, we had the Silverado, you had the Dodge Challenger, Honda Civic. Look, I had three Honda Civics. You
Nice.
got the Infinities. I have a new one. Look, 2020, I got a new one. Another 20 Q60. I had a QX60. This car made so much money. The Jeep Wranglers always make money. You got the Range Rovers. Look, two Lexuses, the C300 and the Ram. So these are the cars I have right now. And we had actually more cars, but we had to scale down because I didn't have time. So I just started I was looking for someone to do the work. and it's as you know, it's not easy to find people to actually do the work. And I have
Right.
two accounts. So this is one of the accounts. We have two separate accounts because just because of not only tax purposes, but also the purposes of being able to have multiple cars and multiple accounts allows you to kind of like not necessarily be limited by the system from being bookings. So if you have
Yeah.
multiple accounts, you won't be like brought down on the listing because you got all these cars booked. They're gonna bring you down because you're not they'll bring somebody else up before you because they have their cars haven't been booked. So you want to
Right.
you want to have you always want to have like no more than maybe 10 cars per account
Hmm.
because you don't want to be in a situation where like you got all these cars in one account and then you're gonna be like kind of like brought to the bottom of the page just like
Right.
Google would do it, right?
So it looks like the BMW has been on 87 trips compared to the other one. So is that like your
Yeah.
most
And
profitable
but
one?
this car is but this is also the car that was almost totaled and ended up sitting
Oh,
around for almost a year. So
gotcha.
so I had to this is the Geico problem. So but we got this car back. Most of the cars they would book for more than let's say like for example the unlisted cars. If you go to an unlisted car, we have 12 of them. Look, 110 trips,
Damn.
108
So,
trips.
and why are these unlisted right now? Just
Because
because,
these cars have either we've either replaced them or we've like returned them.
damn, you got that Dodge
These are all the
Challenger.
cars that I went through. All these
Yeah.
cars made me money. So let's go back to recess. Let me start from the beginning. This is the Turo platform. So click on
Right.
Turo.
Have you ever done an electric car yet?
I have done Lexus and Model X and Model 3, both of them.
Yeah.
So
And
here's our book cars. What was that?
did they work pretty good for
Yeah, and
rentals or
not
no?
so the Lex. The problem is I got it when the right when the pandemic started, so
Oh, so
I couldn't really verify. But I was when I first got it in like before December, November, it didn't really go as fast as and as quick as I would have expected it.
I feel like some drivers would definitely leave your electric car like on the side of the road because they forgot to
Yeah,
charge it.
it just wasn't making money, bro.
Yeah, no, I got you.
And then like the Tesla, you know what you made money? All the SUVs, like those cars
Yeah,
tend to make more money because it has more space. Families rent those cars,
right.
but you gotta depend. But then your payment on a Tesla is like 1,300 a month, so you got to
Damn.
make sure you can cover that payment. Otherwise, you're going to be on a negative. One car will end up paying for another. So, and then that's what happens most of the time when you don't make money on one car, you have to lose your profits because you got to cover the asset on the other car. So that's really what kills you, is that you got to make sure, like, it's almost like you got to have all the cars renting all the time,
Yeah,
or you're gonna have cars that are not renting, and you're gonna lose your profits.
right. Because you got to
So
pay that bill every month.
exactly, yeah. So that's the game, right? It's the game. But here's a book car. So yeah, today, like for example, we had our guys take care of this car. Actually, left to Burbank Airport, so we had it delivered. This car right here left in the morning, picked up, and this car is going to get picked up later on today at 8 o'clock. So right now we're at 2:48, so it's going to get picked up later on today. So
Yeah.
let me show you guys the history. So you can actually see all the previous trips of all the cars we've had. In the end of the year, it's a beautiful system. They set up, and we always improving it with our inputs as hosts, because I'm considered, you can be a super, like an all-star host or like a super host. I'm not either. I'm a power host. So when you have more than being a power host, a certain number of cars,
Yeah.
you become and trips. So if you notice, we're at around like 1,000 trips already.
Yeah.
So when this is only one of our accounts, we actually had another account that got closed for various reasons. But
Right.
at the end of the day, we were able to get back and
So
resolve that
show me
issue.
the calendar thing real quick.
So I'm gonna get to this. So history, and then we're gonna go to the newest feature is the calendar. So the calendar allows you to kind of like see a big picture of all your cars and where they are, right? And this is a new feature they added, which you can actually adjust pricing as you go along the year, which is kind of cool. And I can adjust, let's say I want to change the price on this guy.
So that's like saying it's like $50 a day, pretty much.
It's saying right now $50 a day. So let's say this car like is the Jeep is booked, but I want to drop it. I can drop the price. So for example, I would just I want to, let's say, or I'll increase.
Have you messed around with increasing the price like around holidays and stuff?
Oh yeah, always. So let's say I want to increase the
Cool.
price right now for the Ram or the Jeep. Boom. I hit all 5 days. I just increased the price by $5, right?
Cool.
So and that's what you do. And this is what the cool thing. And before, what you would have to do, you have to go into the actual each car, and you would have to literally go in here and then change the listing, and then go into the calendar like this.
Yeah.
You would have to change the prices like this, and this is a lot more tedious. So they have improved the system. So whoever is going to use Turo now, they definitely would have a benefit of having this new calendar. On top of that, you have the inbox. So if you look at, you can click on here and inbox. You can also click on the trip here. Let's say this is the same trip, and then go straight to the inbox of the customer, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we have this trip, which is what I wanted to show you guys, the Teresa, which is the book car. Here we go. So here she is, she picked up the car from we delivered it to Burbank Airport this morning at 10 a.m. The car was prepared yesterday for the delivery. She has, she's taken this car for about 6 days, 5 days, $335. The payment on this car is about 6.5 bills. So this car, based on in 6 days, it's going to make half its payment. So then after that, basically 12 days, it makes half a payment. The other half of the month, it's all profit.
Yeah.
So that's basically what this is. And the prices vary based on like whether I can raise it up or down. But for me, as long as the cars are going, we're usually making money. Also have a deductible. We don't really want to deal with Turo, so we don't really care about their insurance unless it's like unless the damages are over like $2,000. Otherwise, we try to deal with the contractor or the person themselves. If the damages are less than $2,000, I don't expect the car to be fully damaged unless it's actual physical damage, and then usually it's more than $2,000, and you're able to just file a claim, right? So cool. There's no need to have there's no need to pay Turo more than you have to. I'm only paying them 10%.
I was wondering how much you pay. Like, so the $600 for the mortgage. How much do you think it pays? How you have to pay for the insurance on this car?
So the car insurance is about this car would be about $80, not $80 a month.
That's still so cheap. I keep thinking you're going to say like $300 for insurance because I don't pay
120 max, 250 max.
I always pay the cheapest insurance, but if people are renting my car, I would just think you'd have to go for the more expensive. But then again, you probably can shop around and you can probably get deals,
you can always get separate insurance for it. Remember, your rent. The thing is, your insurance has nothing to do when it's renting. It's only
that's what I was wondering.
The insurance that's covering your car is right here. This is the Turo insurance. So this is you can adjust here. You can adjust the insurance here. 1 second.
So if they wreck the car,
yes,
Turo is going to be part of that insurance claim.
Yeah, because the car is renting while it's on a Turo trip.
Oh, yeah, that's even better. Cool.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying you pay them how you want, and I'll show you guys how you can adjust that. But
so do you pay Turo $150 a month for insurance?
No. You have to pay $150 a month just to get the registration on the car. The car must be registered in the state that it's
I meant to say $80 is what I meant to say.
Or $80 a month. $80 a month. The car has to be registered in the state. If in order to be parked on the street in California, you have to have it registered. It has to have a registration sticker. Otherwise, you can't park it on the street. It'll get towed.
So do you think the game is putting as little money down to get the car, or is the game having as little monthly payments on each car and renting it out? It's kind of both.
It's
right?
both. It's both.
Yeah.
So the game is to put less lease down, get as many cars as possible, and also pay as little as possible every month, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, now the car prices have actually scaled up. They're more expensive now. These cars used to go for like $300-$400. Now they're going for 6 bills, 7 bills. This is a brand new 20. A month. So so let me show you guys how we prepare the cars. These are all the photos that are taken. This is when she picked up the car. This is basically, I'll show you guys in a minute how this works. But basically, all the photos are every corner of the car is literally taken.
Whoa!
Like we're about 100, like 80 to 100 photos. The rims. Anytime.
Who takes these pictures? This
is done by one of our guys.
Cool. I was wondering if you make the lady take all these pictures.
No. She doesn't do anything. That's why we have to. Yeah. That's why we make it into a system, right? It's all about systems.
Yeah. So I don't
hold
them accountable.
I don't trust her taking photos of my car. No,
right.
I take my own photos, and she can take photos too. But when she sees all my photos, she's not going to take any more photos because she's like, "Oh, this guy's already took photos." She didn't take any photos. She has the right to take her own photos if she likes. But she sees the car, is in good condition.
And you did this because you've dealt with Turo so much that if you don't have proof, they're not going to pay for it. So
They're
that's
not gonna
cool
pay
though. At
for
least
it.
you figured that out, man.
I figured it
So you
out. Is
paved the way for all the other
I paved the way, my friend. So here it is.
Yeah.
And also I made it automated. I've automated
Yeah.
I've automated Turo in every way. They provided a method. Before I was doing it manual. I had guys like literally on the phone sending these text messages because I was like, look, I don't have time to send this message. Before I was doing it. Now I have it completely off my hands. My guys are handling it from pickup to drop off, A to Z, right? And then sometimes I just review stuff, and if I find issues, I let my guys know they need to fix their problem. So, you know, here I'll be arriving in Burbank. You know, awesome. This is actually one of our guys sending a text message, and then this is automated. Hi, Teresa, because we pull her name, whatever her name is, and we put this message like, we're so glad for you to book for us. Then we send her basically what we want her to send. Whenever we do remote pickups, Turo requires you to take a photo of your driver license, selfie with a driver license, and a photo of you next to the license, next to the car with the license plate showing. And that's what really is important because they want to know that the person's actually there with the driver license. If it's not there, they cannot pick up. But you still get paid a partial fee if they don't have their driver license or it's not valid or it's expired. But they won't be able to pick up the car, and they should not be able to have the keys. So we make sure that we don't give them the keys till after they arrive or when we deliver.
Right. And they send you a picture of their driver's license with the car.
And this is Turo policy. I can't be there to check your identity. That's it.
Cool.
So we have the guy. This is all automated. So we basically have her, but these are guys that are delivering the car. We ask her to send her a selfie and a driver license before we drive. That way we check her driver license. If it's expired, I just call Turo and tell them, hey, her driver license expired. Please cancel the trip. They'll cancel it. We never moved. We got the car ready.
Right.
And we got paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And then you bear example for her when she's landing at 9 p.m. We told her we're landing at 9:30. We got there, etc., etc. We sent her automatic general rules. The moment her trip starts, which is 9:30, this is automatically sent to her. No drag racing, you know, make sure you fill up the gas, etc. No smoking, all this stuff. And then and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much on the communication side. You do get notifications from them, and whenever somebody wants to leave a rating, you know, they didn't rate us, so we can rate them. But usually we wait till they rate us, then we rate them, and we send them a final message. For example, let me give you a preview of customer here. Let's say we have a customer that, you know, booked the car, and we tell them, hey, thank you for booking a car, and we actually ask them to give us a good rating. So in this case, let's see. Yeah. Hi, Jeanette. I hope you enjoy your trip. Honda, I like if you can click on the rate and give us a 5-star, we'll do the same. Boom. Basically, my thing is like, well, how can we make this automated? How can I make this where it's not just, you know, you doing the work, but you not just you getting cars, you just have this thing fully, you know, kind of systematized. So we do have all those automated systems and set up. You can set up your scheduled messages right here. Welcome, trip, rules, trip instructions, trip finished, right? Whenever they get the trip finished message, all this automated. This is all new, by the way. They didn't have this. I was used to send all these messages.
Oh man, manually. By yourself. That sucks.
So this is like a life changer. Like, oh my God. Like, you know, we saw this. So now we're getting to the fun stuff. So you can get claims. Whenever you file a claim, they didn't have this before. Now they keep track of the claim. Let's say a car got damaged. We have 2 claims out right now. Car was damaged and we're asking for some money. We had cars that got damaged and look, this one was damaged and they verified it. They supplemented it. They paid for this. Okay. You know, our deductible was $2,500. We got $12K at the end. The damages may or may not have cost that much to fix, but essentially, you know, you got paid to fix the problem. You fix the car.
And Turo's insurance company paid you out, basically.
That's right. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, they usually
that makes it easy.
You pay out, or they pay your body shop as well. If your body shop is involved, they could also pay the body shop. Cool. Let me show you this. So now we're going to go to the business. So what is it? How is this a good business or not? In the beginning, you know, this is 2023 pandemic. You know, we're not pushing as many cars, so we're not getting that much of return, but we're still pretty profitable, you know, overall. Yeah. But if I show you like the last when we really was profitable, it was like 2020, for example. Let's see.
Wow.
We're at 67,000. See, they got rid of 2019. It's not there anymore. So 2019, we're at like 90 something thousand.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what happened. This is the pandemic. You notice cars started coming back up. Boom, boom, boom. But imagine we were like this every day.
Yeah.
You know, every day we're pulling 10K and my payments were about 4 or 5K at most. And I was just cash flowing. I was actually doing it more than that. I mean, like 15. I was like almost like 12,000 a month.
Let me see 2021 now. I want to look at them. See if me keep fucking
We had
growing
less
this
cars
motherfucker.
though. Here we go. So
That's a good year,
nine,
dude. That's 100,000 a year, man. That's nothing too shabby. It's pretty cool.
right?
That's sick. I mean, obviously you got to pay all the things, but you own the cars. If they get fucked up, the insurance pays it out.
Well, I most of these cars are either
Well, you lease them.
either I buy them, like I put the down payment, I buy them because it's
Yeah.
worth it, or I just lease them. Now I just lease cars because I don't want to deal with owning any of these cars. But some of the high end vehicles I like to own because I can write it off potentially,
Right.
and I don't even have to drive it.
Do you think there's any money in the luxury car rental business?
That was the game before, and I've heard a lot in the past that it was good, but now a lot of people are not picking up luxury because most of the people that would get luxury, they're out in Dubai. So
Yeah. They
unless
don't care
Dubai,
anymore.
unless they're coming to California anytime soon or in the United States, most people are not traveling as much as they used to. Honestly, the people that are coming from Dubai, Saudi Arabia, like these guys, they got money. They're no longer here. The Chinese used to come a lot too. A lot of Chinese guys, they used to come here. A lot of guys would come here and get a lot of money for that. But then those guys would spend money because they got money. They're coming from rich families, rich backgrounds that they want to come pick up a Lamborghini or a G-Wagon or a Rolls Royce. Those cars were going back then, around before 2020, and now, but still after 2019. So I changed my business model, and look what I did.
Yeah. Started crushing it. And what about last year? I want to see.
The last year it was 2022. It was I dropped my cards. I got rid of a lot of cars because I just didn't have the time and I didn't have the right people. So it's all about like time, money, and people, right? So you got to have the time, money, and people. So I just kind of downscaled. And I was like, well, let me just get cars. I got rid of a lot of cars and I got cars that I like. So I was like, well, let me just get cars I like the Jeep, the Ram, all these cars that I got. All the cars I have now are kind of like cars I like. So now once I get a lot, which is my next goal, is to get a lot for these cars. And then I can scale to as much as I want. Because guess what? I already know the business. I know I know it so well that it's just to me, it's just like a turn it on, turn it off type like
time to
thing,
scale.
Right? Exactly. And look at our performance, bro. We're this says we're gone the way, but we're already all-star. We're actually a power host. Look, our rating is amazing. And we maintain this rating across the board, you see?
Yeah. And I mean, you got workers that pretty much manage your whole business, right? You don't do shit really, except for unless there's a problem. Yeah.
We got 9.7. Usually the damages I'm still handling because like I don't really trust the workers to handle the claims as much.
Right.
Because I mean, there's more
you're the one that affects you. Yeah.
Yeah. So and you got a lot,
That's cool,
a lot of these guys, like these guys are leaving good comments. We get one guy, this guy was a dick. He left us a bad review, so we got to respond to him. I mean, tell him, you know what, you're the reason the car stopped working. But essentially, this is what you got. You got to deal with people. At same, still dealing with people. But
right.
What else did I want to show you? That's pretty much about.
That's cool though. This is a good insider look, man. I think it's awesome.
And you can look at it as you can also be obviously a guest and book a car too. But if you obviously here's about making money. So if you want to look at the transaction history, they pay out. Here, like they're gonna pay out $237 every day. They're literally paying me out, bro.
Nice.
$200.
Stacks. This is cool.
$600.
I mean, that's pretty much profit. Well, no, like eventually it's profit once you pay
this is all income on all the cars. So like we're bringing in money for like each car. Like
and I mean,
Ram, Honda, Infinity, right?
Yeah, and I mean, if you get your credit like pristine, your monthly payments should be cheaper, right?
Yes,
that's how you do it.
You get the better payments, get the better. Cars are a little more expensive, but you know what? Like if you can bring in about, like
if it's making a profit, like
$5,000, $6,000 a month, and you're making a profit, and it's pretty passive. I mean, how hard is it to wash a car? Just take the car to a car wash.
Yeah, exactly.
Take it to a self wash. At the end of the day, as long as the car has to be clean. Now they have a check-in process. Requires you to have a car disinfected and stuff now because of the pandemic. But they're also limited on miles. Now, if they drive over miles, you get paid 17 cents per mile.
Oh, cool.
So if they drove a mile, you're covered there as well. And then if you want to see how much money they actually are covered by, you can look at the car agreement. They have a direct agreement between you and them and Turo, and they're required to cover the car. This is their insurance coverage. They're paying zero out of pocket. If the car gets damaged, they're not paying anything because they got the highest.
They got the high liability
They
or
paid
whatever.
they paid the premium because they probably learned their lesson at some point.
Right, right.
Or they're like, you know what, like I rather pay the extra 5, 10, $20 and I'm not gonna pay for any damages I make. Our trips are under right now right here. These are all the cars right here that we actually have now.
Yeah.
So they got the Dram.
So if anybody's in LA, hit up fucking Gino's
Yeah, bro. We
Turo.
got all these cars, and we're out here in Glendale, California right now. So we're gonna be we're gonna be scaling really soon, even more. We're just basically downsized only because of what happened with the pandemic. So
Yeah. So now you're gonna get a lot, and you're gonna basically scale this bitch up, right?
yep. Just get a bunch of cars. I mean, who wouldn't want to drive this car, bro? Like this is.
I know. I'm jealous. You just got a spare Jeep Wrangler hanging out, making you money.
That's
Like,
I'm
cool.
fucking hanging out spare like 20. This guy's how many trips this car had?
$44 a day, bro. That's a deal. I like that.
Oh, I'm giving these cars out for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the business of making money. I'm not in the business of, I don't want to touch the car, it's gonna get scratched. No, bro, this car needs to go make me money. You know what I'm saying? And I got these tires actually custom made because I like the truck.
No, that's fun. You get to wake up and be like, what color car do I want to drive today?
You get to wake up and enjoy
red one or the blue one.
Car. I mean, what better way to, you got 15 cars parked outside your house. I mean, and they're all making you money. It's like having 15 houses, right? It's like what else would you? What kind of
definitely cash flows.
What kind of life would you like to have? And I say you have the life that you appreciate.
Can you pay Turo at all to like promote your cars over other people's cars?
So no, I don't pay them for that. Whenever you can switch to a host and you can search for cars here. Like let's say you're in Los Angeles and you want to.
Well, no. Like I'm just asking, like if you pay, so they don't have any option to like spend a little more to rent your car above other people's.
I haven't ever looked into that. As far as I know, they have to keep a fair.
No,
platform.
It doesn't say it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. And plus, I never saw. These are all the cars that are available. Like we can just book anywhere in the area, right? All these cars. Cool. Look at all these cars they got. But for me, like if I go back to a host, there's no option to pay more for marketing.
No, you're good. Yeah, I don't see it. I was just wondering.
Yeah, they have like
host tools.
Information. They have a tax. They obviously have a tax information. So if you do make more than $20,000 on Turo, you will get a 1099 form. And you will have to pay taxes. Okay, so just be aware.
That's fine. And I mean, so like let's talk realistic. So if you're gonna start this business, you got to live in a busy city, right? I mean, you got to live near an airport, probably. You got to live near something that people visit, right? Because I mean, I'm sure you mostly rent to like tourists or people whose cars are in the shop or people who just need to get somewhere,
Yep. Yeah, and mostly it's I would say just local people that just need to get a car. They're traveling to on a day-to-day basis. Or they even want to try. I got people that just want to try cars out, and I got those cars. I always get them, and it's all about getting the new cars because, you can have an old car, but most people are online looking for new cars. They want to drive that new 2023 Honda. They want to drive that new 2022 like Alpha. They want to drive a new BMW.
Let's just talk about it.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like you have that opportunity where you can enjoy having new cars and make money. But now if you want to have if you can buy these cars and then you can actually resell them at the end, you can also do that. You can buy these cars, rent them out, and at the end they pay themselves off. As long as they don't get totaled, you can have, at the end of the day, you have the car. You just made money off this car for the last year or two. That's what I did with the Honda. I made like almost 30 grand in 2 years off one car, and the payment was about $300 a month for a Honda. And that car made me $30,000, man. And at the end, it still had equity, and I used the equity to get me another car completely free. So it awesome. It made me money. It got me another car. I mean, it's like wow, and that's why I'm like, wow, these some of these cars are just like game changers. But you have to have, you got to go through the experience, I guess. And working with us, we can definitely give you the right insights of which cars to potentially get. And which cars are going to put you in the right direction versus, getting a car that may hinder your profits, and you might be negative right off the spot.
Yeah. Don't you think we can probably get people funding? Their credit is still going to be pretty high, right? And then they can basically go to a bank, get a business loan for a car, go get a car,
Right.
put it on Turo, start cash flowing that way
All day, every
all
day.
day. Get
They can use
multiple
their
cars,
credit.
right?
They can
Get
use
a couple.
they can use their credit cards to put down payments on cars.
Oh man, that's a good idea. That's crazy. I like the idea of paying as little as possible, but you also got to find that sweet spot where you have a low monthly
Right.
payment so that it can make you a lot of money. But you got to
Yeah.
live somewhere profitable, right? You got to be
Right.
location is important.
You can make money off this cars, and if you don't, if you might not make as much money, but it's almost like you're gonna make money. Okay, as
Right,
long as
right,
the
right.
car is in a good, like if it's in a busy area like L.A., Miami, New York, right?
Yeah.
Areas that are like busy, like Chicago, right? Texas, like these are
Hmm.
like for example, even Arizona, Phoenix. I'm sure it's busy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about Phoenix. But Phoenix is an hour and a half from me, so I probably wouldn't be able to do it. I'd have to have somebody manage the rentals
Yeah.
for me, you know. Plus, the sun would just destroy them.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
But
Like that's why we're gonna get our own like headquarters, and we have like we'll have all the cars in one place. Whenever you want, you can just come pick out a car, bro.
yeah, exactly. No, that'd be
So
cool.
essentially, anybody can get into this business, especially if they get their credit fixed, which we're gonna help them do. They're gonna get their financial in order. They're gonna get access to personal and business funding. And even
Yeah.
if they use the personal credit card, bro, at the end, as long as the car is profitable, it's cash flowing, you can take that extra profits, pay back your original cards or original loans, and you now have a car free and clear, and it's making you money.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. That's pretty sick.
So that's the
That's
game.
awesome.
That's the
That's
game,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
having multiple of these is what really changed my mind. It's like, wow, I don't have to. I can get. It's easier to get cars than houses, right?
Oh yeah.
Houses, buying a
Well,
house is
some
it's
people.
so hard to find a house unless you're like doing wholesaling or you're on the phone, you have a call center, you're doing a lot of that work. If you're not
Mhm.
doing real estate like we're doing, like basically like that how the pros do it. If you're just doing real estate on a day-to-day basis, like anybody else, with an agent, or even if you're doing wholesale off market deals, you're still not going to get as many houses because your money is going to be limited,
Yeah,
right?
houses
So
are slow money, but
it's slow
cars are
money, but
fast.
the cars
Yeah.
are quick money, and you have access to money that you never had with our
Hmm.
program. Use the money, cash flow on the cars, take the money, pay back your original debt. Now you have a cash flowing business without any of your money.
Fire. Straight fire.
Yep.
I'm jealous. Now I got to start my car fucking empire, bro. I'm sure I could rent, like if I just had like two or three here, because there's no car rentals in this area. I bet I'd at least be able to capitalize. The other thing that we didn't talk about though is you said you got to take good pictures of the car, right? That's kind of how you market it. Did you promote any other way that you have a car
And
rental
I have an
business?
Instagram. I have an Instagram that
Yeah,
I
your
have.
Instagram.
I was running some ads at one point when I was really getting, because the company that the brand is Exclusive Rentals. That's the
Yeah.
brand. So
Oh, cool.
Exclusive Rentals. So
Hmm.
that's why we use that, and it's been really good because we got a lot of people that know about us in the city in LA now. I get reoccurring clients all the time.
Oh, cool.
So now I'm like, well, I don't even have to promote, bro, because people
No, I
know
was just
about me.
wondering.
They know about me. No, I can promote, but they know about me. But if I have a location and I can fill that location with a bunch of cars and I do some marketing, we can really scale.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
was thinking like
powerful.
if you got a lot, you could get some exotic cars, right? Just for show. And
For
then that
sure.
would make people talk about you. And then
And
occasionally they'd get rented.
that's the thing. I have my own cars. I have my G wagon here, and I got my my Porsche outside. I got other cars here. But the thing is, if I wanted to drive other cars, I can just take these cars and get myself another car. Let's say I want to upgrade and get myself a Lambo, right? I can go
Yeah.
get a Lamborghini Urus, and I can put my G wagon on the market, and it's gonna cash flow.
Yeah. I mean, I'll rent them for all my rap videos, bro.
At the end of the day, for
That's what a lot
me,
of people probably do, right?
for me it's like, well, I always love cars, but I couldn't, and I never didn't want I didn't want to pay for them. I was
Yeah,
like,
no,
well,
it
I
seems
would. It's like,
it's a liability, whereas this is an asset. It'll make you
yeah,
money. You know what
I
I mean?
convert a liability to an asset.
Yeah, that's
That's the
fire.
power, is being able to convert a liability as a house is a liability. You convert it
Yeah.
into an asset, right?
Hmm.
Anything is a liability. If you think about it, everything is a liability. If you think about it,
Hmm.
it's just how do you turn that liability into an asset? And the way
Right.
you do it is by you have to find fill a need in the marketplace. There's a
Yeah.
need, you fill it. LA needs
Well,
more
the leverage
locations.
here is transportation, man. People
Yeah,
need to get places. You know what I mean? And that's pretty
exactly.
sick.
People need to live somewhere. people need
Yeah.
to get somewhere and
Yeah.
people need to eat, right? They need to eat and
Yeah.
drink and water. So, maybe
Yep.
my next business is gonna be a restaurant. I don't know. But it's gonna be, that's the next thing. I always gotta, live somewhere, get somewhere, eat something. So then what
Yeah,
else do you
exactly.
need, right? So we'll
I
get
dig
there.
it.
But essentially we got the housing and we have transportation covered and we have real estate covered. So I mean, those are the biggest powerhouses that any business entrepreneur that wants to get into, that's where it's at, right? And then
Yeah.
if you want, and now it's just more about like, well, I can open up my own a car wash, for example, or I can open up, like an actual dealership. I can take some of these cars, and if the ones that are like, let's say, not renting, I turn around and flip them. I mean, I can do so
Yeah.
many things
I
now.
think if you had a lot with the mechanic shop, because
Game
then you can
over.
fix your own cars
Yeah.
and you can, do oil changes for all the hippies that don't know how to do it in California.
Exactly. But I do have my body shop that I work with directly, and we work
Yeah.
really, really closely. So whenever there's a car, I just have to give him a call.
Hmm.
He comes in and basically tows the car away.
Yeah.
He helps me get the filing and everything. So there's a lot of work there. That's why, again, do I want to be a body shop? I don't know. Do I want
Nah,
to be a
it'd be a
mechanic shop?
headache.
I don't know. Right. I
But
want to
you
be
could, yeah.
I want to be the guy that owns the asset that makes money. That's what I
Yeah,
want to be.
exactly.
I want to be the
I like
guy
it.
that owns the asset that makes money. All the work that's behind that,
Yeah.
and the claim and all the, that's just extra money, right? I want
Yeah.
to make money up front, which is the basically the sale or the rental of that property or that specific asset, and then any additional income that comes from that asset is just bread, right? It's just bread for me. And then on top of that, like I'm already getting the sandwich, so I'm just getting extra bread with extra money.
The sandwich. No, I dig it, man. This is a cool business. Thanks for giving us a peek inside. Any other nuggets that we didn't talk about? You think about the car rental business?
No, just find good people,
Yeah.
people you can trust, because I've had workers that take my cars and not tell me about it, and
Oh
I've
shit.
had people like take advantage of my kindness and
Driving around in the rentals without telling you. Yeah.
and also your drivers have to have a driver license and they have to
Yeah.
have non-owners policy insurance. If
Okay.
they don't have non-owners policy, they can't be driving your vehicle.
Yeah. Stupid question though. How do you pick people up from the airport? Do you like
Oh,
drive the driver, pick them up, and then drop the driver off, or do you
no,
have
no,
two
we
cars?
have two cars. Usually
Okay,
the
that's what I
drive
was wondering.
we have the car and we have the delivery man, right? So
Yeah.
the guy that's driving the car is literally the one's dealing with the customer. Hey, how are you? Communication. The other car is just waiting for him to get in the car and leave. So
Nice. Yeah, I was
there's
thinking so
one
you gotta
guy.
have two people. That's
Gotta
interesting
have
though.
two people, and I've been blessed to have two people, at all times to keep this
Yeah.
business running. And really, I need more. I need like at least 3 or 4 people, and I have another guy that I'm trying to get onboarded right now. And if I
Yeah.
get him onboarded, then I can scale even more, and then everybody else makes money, right? So
Yeah.
and also delivery. I pay my guys for delivery. I don't take anything for the delivery fees. I give them all the delivery because I rather give them all the money so they can deliver more. And guess
Yeah.
what? I just made $200, $300 on a car that I never even touched.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful. I'm telling you, bro, get those guys doing DoorDash and Uber. Like once you get a lot or something, that'd be sick.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have fun with that. So I think
Yeah,
this is a
the
great
Nadarov
opportunity.
taxi service.
Anybody that wants to get into get into a quick turnaround, fast cash flow business using existing business personal credit or lines of credit. This is a great opportunity. Otherwise, there's e-com and
Mhm.
other automated businesses that we can definitely talk about, like affiliate marketing and stuff like that. But real estate obviously is good. It's a little slow. This is a lot faster and a lot more scalable.
Yeah, this is a powerhouse of a business for sure. All right. If anybody's listening out there wants consulting on how to start a car business, reach out to me or Gino. If anybody needs anything about funding, credit, getting you the money you deserve, feel free to send us a message or book a call on our calendar. Talk to you soon.